Hey guys, Collins here, and today we're back with a brand new video. Now, my hair's a mess, I apologize. The reason why it is because this is what 5-6 weeks in quarantine looks like. It's not good. With that being said, we're going to be talking about some drama that is pretty old actually. I do apologize, and it's kind of a continuum of my last two videos, so if you haven't seen them, please make sure to check them out. Link in the description down below, or click the card up on the right hand corner of your screen. With that being said, let's just jump right into it. So today we're going to be talking about the Bo Blacks versus Desiny Twitch stream. Now, in my last video I talked about how Desiny was kind of defending Invader V.
Last episode.
This guy is pissing me off, dude. This guy is actually making me like, God, what is wrong with this dude? Is he mentally deficient? I mean, oh my God, I don't have words to express my actual anger for this dude. He's literally saying that if you don't have enough money to pay, that's not an excuse.
I can't afford it. It's not a valid excuse for not subbing.
Fucking hell, I guess not having enough money isn't a valid excuse now, is it, you know? And how he did a shit job at doing so, and I kind of critiqued him and kind of got a little too mad. I do apologize. I kind of got my anger issues, you know, just a little too much at that point. I'm sorry. I can't afford you, piece of shit! So I kind of went all in and all out and kind of yelled and swore, and, you know, I wasn't very nice. So today, instead of looking at this entire thing through a Collins perspective, from a pissed off, motherfucking retarded kid, I'm gonna look at this through a critical perspective. I'm gonna criticize him and make critical points in his arguments that are actually rather flawed in his Twitch stream. So to sum it up all briefly though, Bo Blacks and Desiny went on stream and decided to debate each other regarding the whole Invader V controversy. Desiny obviously saying that, you know, it's okay to beg for $5 a month, and to say that you're too poor to afford it is untrue and lying and bullshit. While Bo Blacks was kind of more on the, yeah, there are people out there who can't afford it. Now let's start off with his argument. Now, his argument simply is the average Twitch viewer can afford $5 a month because the average Twitch viewer makes more money on average than the average American.
I think it's safe to assume, I think the general argument we're making is that people that sit and watch like streams on Twitch all day are probably doing better socioeconomically on average than like the average American is.
First of all, how do you know this? You're just making assumptions, right? You know, assuming things is making an ass out of you and me. You've probably heard that one before. However, this is just simply not true, because the average Twitch viewer is probably, first of all, kids. But let's just assume for a second that everyone who watches Twitch is over the age of 18. What do people over the age of 18 do? Oh yeah, they go to college. Now this is just an assumption, however, it's probably a lot more accurate than Destiny's assumptions, so I'm just going to go ahead and right away and say it. The average Twitch viewer is probably between the ages 18 and 24. I mean, if we just assume all these youngins down here don't exist, if we're talking about purely adults, the average adult viewer on Twitch is probably between 18 and 24. Do you want to know what people during 18 and 24 do? Like I said earlier, they go to fucking college. Now, I don't know the exact averages when it comes down to college tuitions, but I can assume it's anywhere from like $10,000 if you're in-state and going to a community college, upwards to $40,000 if you're out of state and going to a high-end college per year or per semester. I don't know. I'm not a college expert. Point being, taking these two averages and just adding them together, 10,000 and 40,000, you get 50,000 divided by 2. Let's just say the average college tuition per viewer on Twitch is roughly 25,000, you know, give or take a few thousand here and there, but I think that's a fair assessment in my personal opinion. So if we take that calculation into mind, 25,000 per year, that's a fuck ton of money. That's about, after a 4-year college, about $100,000. That's a lot of money, and I don't know if it's just me, but I don't have $100,000 just lying around in my closet. So where does it come from? Oh yes, student loans. And with that in mind, student loans need to be paid off somehow. So people ages 18 to 24 are either going to be going to college full-time, or they're going to be working part-time while going to college, or they're just not going to go to college. With that in mind, though, most people going to college probably won't be able to afford a $5 Twitch stream a month, you know? I don't know if it's just me, but subscribing to a Twitch streamer for $5 a month, it's probably not that feasible for a college student. And that's because they have to pay for rent, they have to pay for the books, they need to pay for the tuitions. So even if you're working part-time, you're probably going to be saving up all your money to pay off your college tuitions. So by the time you get out of college and you can get your good job, you'll have at least a decent portion of your loans paid off so that you don't need to work as hard, you know? Work harder now, play harder later, you know? Sometimes you have to make budget cuts and you try to save as much money as you possibly can, you know? But I know what Destiny's gonna say. He's gonna say that's not the average viewer. You wanna know how I know that? Because in the stream, that's all he ever says.
Do you think this is the average Twitch viewer? Do you realize that you're talking about a very, very, very small portion of the internet on average? Yeah, on average.
However, that's again not true. The average viewer is probably going to college, and even if they're not going to college and they're working full time at like McDonald's or Jack in the Box or Taco Bell or something, truth be told, they're probably saving that money so that they can, you know, invest it in something like a house or a car or something that is an asset to them, you know, a car that can get them from point A to point B, you know, a house that they can live in, you know. Because people who are working these full-time jobs and not going to college, they need the money to buy necessities like houses and stuff, you know? These are things that people want, you know? No one wants to rent a house for their entire lives. They want to save up money so they can put down a down payment so they can have a mortgage for a house that they can actually own, you know? And even then, if we take a look into the minimum wages in most states and stuff like that, and the federal minimum wage, it's not that much money. I doubt that a person working for minimum wage can afford to pay rent, utilities in general, and afford to pay the $5 a month when they're also trying to save up for something better for themselves. Like, I don't know, maybe a new house, maybe a new car, maybe a new laptop, you know? You don't know what people's life situations are, Destiny. So you assuming that the average viewer is working a full-time job, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and just have money to just blow on Twitch is absolutely insane. Now, a counter argument brought up in the Bo Blacks vs. Destiny stream was the fact that people could easily get mobile phones and get a cheap data plan. Now, this is something I personally would never have thought about, and that's the reason why I didn't mention it in my video. However, I do agree with Bo Blacks in that situation, as it's very true. Most people could very easily do that, and there are cheap mobile plans out there that can cost anywhere from, like, I don't know, $40 to $50 a month, which, when it comes down to owning a cell phone, which can be a major necessity in 2020, it's pretty cheap, all things considered. Like, you know, for one phone, a $40 a month plan is not that bad, all things considered. However, Destiny's argument to this is the same argument he uses against everything. That's not the average Twitch viewer.
Okay, I don't know. So I've been...
Yeah, but you could stream it at like 122p and then just listen to it.
Yeah, but how many people are just... Okay, so you're telling me that of these 10,000 people, 3,000 of them are on mobile because they can't afford internet, but they have a 10 gigabyte plan, but they only listen on audio only? Do you realize that you're talking about a very, very, very small portion of the internet?
And it just boggles my mind that he thinks that. You know, how does he know this, you know? He doesn't. He is, again, assuming. He's assuming shit. And, you know, it's not very productive if your argument is based around assumptions that make little to no sense. Ultimately, at the end of the day, most of the people watching who are over the age of 18 probably have an iPhone that they have had their entire lives because maybe their parents bought it for them prior to them turning 18. Maybe they have a cheap mobile plan that they can afford, yet they're watching the streams in 144p like Bo Black said. Or if they're not doing that and they're watching the full stream in 1080p, perhaps they have an unlimited plan, which aren't that expensive in 2020, you know, you can still get an unlimited plan. So Destiny's whole argument on the whole mobile phone plan just doesn't really make sense to me personally. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't know the situation that people are living in, you know. Phones are getting cheaper and cheaper. You can get a smartphone for like $100. I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can find one. Sure, it won't be great or anything, but it'll certainly get the job done.
I think it's safe to assume, I think the general argument we're making is that people that sit and watch like streams on Twitch all day are probably doing better socioeconomically on average than like the average American is.
So he's just assuming that every Twitch viewer has that kind of money all because they watch Twitch? What? Does he not realize that college students could be watching his live streams, while they're doing homework, Or maybe even if you work full time, they could be doing it either on break or perhaps they could be doing it, when they get home after a long day of work, Work is very stressful. Twitch streams can help alleviate that stress because it provides entertainment value. Does he not realize these simple things?
But ad block rates among like tech parts of the internet can get anywhere as high as like 70 to 85%.
Now, I do admit, I'm sure a lot of people do use ad block, myself included. When I'm on my laptop, I do have ad block.
I mean, you never talk about ad block as a creator because nobody will ever turn off their ad block. That's why a lot of sites on the internet have gone like pay to view, right?
Now, he does mention that most websites will have you read maybe 1 or 2 articles and then they'll start charging you. That is true. However, that's not all websites.
It's very, 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 very high. So the average Twitch streamer definitely ad blocks. So I'm curious. So in your point of view, if somebody is watching a stream, like we'll say 1 hour a day, they watch a stream and they don't sub or they don't have Twitch Turbo or anything, and they ad block, would you say that viewer is a freeloader?
I get that watching with ad block might be considered freeloading because, you're blocking out ads and you're basically watching it without seeing any ads, and therefore you're not contributing anything to both the website and as well as a Twitch streamer. However, on the topic of Twitch streamers, didn't all Twitch streamers start off by working for free on Twitch? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you only have like 2 followers, one of them being your mom, I don't think that you're getting paid to do that. Like, you have to actually be partnered with Twitch, if I'm not mistaken, in order to, get a cut. So my question to you is, weren't you doing it for free for like the first 2, maybe even 3 years of your job? I've been doing YouTube for 6 years and I haven't seen a penny. And I don't really care. I like doing this. I like getting in front of the camera and talking about my personal opinions on topics and such. So I don't get why people think that money is like this ultimate decider of whether or not they'll live stream on Twitch or not. Like, I get it that you need the money, and if you're a full-time Twitch streamer, I understand. But what I don't understand is why you guys think it's mandatory for people to donate to you or subscribe to you on Twitch. Now let me make it clear though, Desiny does not say that you have to donate. He just says saying that you can't afford to donate is BS.
That doesn't mean you have to sub. Doesn't mean you should sub. Doesn't mean you have an obligation to sub. If you don't want to, because either you're lazy to do it, because you don't want to do it, because you don't give a fuck, okay? Those are all perfectly valid reasons to not sub. If someone is like, I don't want to sub because I don't give a fuck. I don't want to sub. You're like, oh, cool, okay, cool. Amen. That's great, fine. But when you're like, well, I don't think I can afford it. Pretty sure that's bullshit, bud.
Now, the whole issue with this part of the stream, this section, is the fact that he sounds entitled to your money. And basically, he comes off as if all Twitch streamers are entitled to the streamer's money. And if you can't afford it, well, too bad.
I guess, like, in looking at the clips and everything, it just seems, like, so crazy to me that, like, so much got blown up over, like, a relatively harmless clip. Where it's, like, the idea that, like, you don't have enough money to sub, like, $5 a month, doesn't seem to be very likely if you're spending, like, time watching Twitch streams.
Now, this is the part that kind of upsets me just a little bit, because it's stupid as fuck, okay? It's fucking retarded. So he shows a clip from Invader V's stream, where she says that, if you can't afford to donate, that's okay.
I don't see how. I understand there are definitely exceptions to that. There are extenuating circumstances beyond each individual notice, of course.
Like, she literally says, like, maybe 20 seconds after this, so there are obviously some extenuating circumstances and stuff where you can't afford a sub. She literally says, like, 20 seconds after this.
Okay, let's watch the clip.
Okay,
Can
sure.
you
I linked you a VOD, I guess.
screen?
There's times to it. You can go, like, 20 seconds into this. It's like, she literally says...
Now, this clip was taken right after her however long minute rant, where she basically belittled her fans and donation shamed them and saying that they have to donate to her. She did this for like a solid 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know how long exactly, but we all saw the clips from like last week, right? So yeah, after that, she said, it's okay if you can't afford to donate.
I understand there are definitely exceptions to that. There are extenuating circumstances beyond each individual notice, of course.
It really feels like damage control when she said that, because she said it literally like 20 seconds after she went on that huge tirade, basically belittling her fans. You know, it's kind of like me saying, hey, look, fuckers, you have to subscribe. You know, I don't do this content for free, and I don't get paid by YouTube right now, so I need 1,000 subscribers. You know, I need 800 of you fuckers who watch my shitty videos to subscribe, so I can finally receive some sort of AdSense, you know, a little bit of money, so a little bit of moolah, you know.
A few moments later.
But you know what? If you don't enjoy my content, you don't have to subscribe. You know, if you don't enjoy it, you don't have to subscribe. Take that example and multiply it by 5, and that's the situation that we're talking about here, because we're not talking about just following someone on Twitch or subscribing to someone on YouTube. We're talking about donating $5 a month, which is a whole heck of a lot more of a contribution than just clicking a subscribe button. Point being, though, in either case scenario, I basically contradict what I said 20 seconds after I said it. You know, in Vader V's case, it's the exact same thing. She contradicted herself because she was trying to damage control. In her quote-unquote apology, she mentions that as soon as she said it, she realized how horrible it sounded, but she kind of buried those feelings down. So I feel like she only said that last bit because her subconscious was telling her, hey, look, you made an oopsie. You said something really, really bad. How about you try to correct it now? And speaking of Invader V's apology, I don't know if this dude, fucking Desiny, saw it or not, but she basically admitted she was wrong, and yet he's out here still defending her and white knighting her and shit. Dude, it's like someone is going to jail, they confess, you know, hey, I did the crime, time to do the time, and then Desiny over here just comes on and is like, no, you did not do the crime. No, you didn't. No, no, you did not do the crime. Even though we literally just got a confession out of the person who claimed to do the crime. It makes no sense, does it? Now, this next section will be a little bit quicker because it's a kind of a smaller argument. However, I do want to mention it because I found it to be quite interesting. Now, I don't know how followers work on Twitch. However, Invader V lost 87,000 subscribers. We all know that. I showed it in my last video. I talked about it. You know, it's impressive how much followers she lost. However, according to Desiny, who sounded quite irritated when Boblax brought this up, he said that she did not lose 87,000 followers because she gained 80,000 followers a couple months prior.
I don't think many people found it humorous. Like, she lost 90K followers from this.
She didn't. That's not true.
Yes, she did.
No,
she lost
that's not
80K.
true.
Look at her
Notice how
followers
she
and a lot of
gained
them are-
like 80,000 followers, 87,000 followers. Notice how she gained about the exact same amount she dropped off. It was just a big bot
Okay.
follow and a bot unfollow.
Now, he claimed that this was just a huge bot loss or whatever. These 80,000 people who unsubscribed, unfollowed, were just bots, right? Looking at the data from Social Blade, it does appear to seem that way. However, in my opinion, it just seems like a massive coincidence, you know? I don't understand how followers work. However, no YouTuber will ever receive 80,000 botted followers and not immediately get a huge, like, you know, ban or a huge, like, just unsubscribe purge, you know? YouTube has this thing called audits where basically a couple times a day, they're going to a channel and basically just delete a bunch of subscribers that either don't watch the content anymore, dead accounts or whatever, you know, subscribers that, you know, aren't active, you know, basically inactive or botted accounts. Now, my question is, how did this go unnoticed to Twitch for an entire month before they realize, hey, there are 80,000 followers here that don't belong here, and just immediately purge them all? Like, it makes, like, no sense to me. However, I do have to give Desiny a little bit of credit because the whole 80,000 followers in 1 week doesn't make sense to me either. I mean, she didn't receive a massive view increase during that time, so it's safe to say that some of those botted accounts were just that, bots. However, I don't know how Twitch things work, so I'll give them half a point for that. However, we have to admit that of that 87,000 people who unfollowed, a good portion of them might have been her own followers, like actual people. Just think of it like this. Isn't it quite odd that she lost 87,000 followers as soon as this clip went viral? It's a massive coincidence if it is that. Otherwise, it's just fucking retarded right now. With all that being said though, to conclude this video, Desiny made a lot of oopsies and yeah, not good, no bueno. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know in the comments section down below what you guys think. That being said, I hope you guys did enjoy once again. Okay, anyways, goodbye and farewell.
Okay, when you say really stupid shit, I'm gonna IP ban you for 1,024 hours. This is my only warning. Think about it before you say some real dumb shit. So Mauler X, you don't need a computer or home internet to watch Twitch streams. The average viewer is not going to the fucking library to watch Twitch streams, you inbred dipshit fuckhead.